ARCHLine.XP 2025 opens a new era with tools never seen before. Join us for an update day to discover exciting new features of the new version in our webinar. After the webinar, contact your local reseller for special offers and promotions. The ARCHLine.XP GstarCAD plugin bridges the gap between architectural design and CAD drafting, creating a seamless workflow for professionals who use both platforms. With this plugin, users can open, edit, and exchange DWG and DXF files between ARCHLine.XP and GstarCAD effortlessly, ensuring full compatibility and accurate data transfer. You can not only import 2D drawings from ARCHLine.XP into GstarCAD, but the 3D model as well using the IFC capabilities of ARCHLine.XP. As you can see, the 3D model works perfectly in GstarCAD. It displays the whole building effortlessly. The connection also supports bi-directional updates, so changes in one environment can be reflected in the other. This makes collaboration faster, reduces errors, and shortens project turnaround times. When you are finished with the drawing, the floor plan in GstarCAD, you can send the drawing into ARCHLine.XP with a touch of a button, and from there you can create the 3D BIM model. The ARCHLine.XP GstarCAD plugin combines the intelligence of BIM with the flexibility of traditional CAD drafting. With the AI render feature, artificial intelligence helps us create quick visual concepts. Even in the early brainstorming phase, you can produce striking mood boards, furnishing concepts, or enhance early mass models. In the dialog, we can set the properties of the desired picture and can write the prompt. The prompt is the description of what would you like to see. This acts as the instruction for AI. The more detailed your description, the more accurate and creative the result. You can use the 3D model or external pictures as the base for the AI render. You have ample options to choose from, which makes it easy for you to create the best possible pictures. It is easy and quick to create several versions in different styles of the space or building you want to create. AI Render is a great tool that can help you with the creative brainstorming in the early stages of the design process. Virtual staging is one of the new AI-powered features in ARCHLine.XP 2025. With this tool, you can turn an empty room into a stylish, furnished interior in seconds without modeling any furniture. This feature is part of the AI render system, so you don't need any extra software or exporting. To use it, you can buy credits on ARCHLine.XP.com. One image equals 1 credit, and you can use them after logging into the program. The AI understands the room's function and automatically places furniture, decorations, and lighting while considering windows and light direction. You can start staging from a render image or even a photo of an empty room. You choose the room type, pick a style, and write a prompt. A prompt is your instruction to the AI. The program will furnish the space based on this description. The more specific your prompt is, the better the result. It is helpful to include the style, color palette, mood, and even the time of the day or the season, like spring morning or pastel colors. One of the biggest advantages of virtual staging is how easy it is to experiment with it. From a single image, you can create several furnishing versions. This helps the client choose their favorite direction early in the design process without modeling every option. It saves valuable time for the designers and offers inspiration for everyone looking to furnish an empty space. In this video, we are making the plan of a building based on a point cloud. After importing the point cloud, activate the 3D view. Add a vertical filter that allows you to see the section of the building. You can save the section of the point cloud as a filter which can be managed later in the Filter Regions dialog. Set a view in the 3D window which is particular to the section. Activate the Adjust Floor Structure command, which allows you to graphically edit the floor structure of the project. Set the height of the ground floor, then the first and the second floor too. By pressing the Control button on your keyboard, the snapping will be activated. Add a horizontal plane filter to the point cloud. Set its height so you can see the ground floor of the building and save it. By setting different names to the filters, you can identify them later. Deactivate the visibility of the structure filter. Right-click on the point cloud and refresh the floor plan based on the filter. Now you can easily calculate the thickness of the walls needed for this building. Measure the thickness and set it in the Wall Properties dialog. Activate the wall detection command from the ribbon bar. With this tool, ARCHLine.XP can detect the direction of the vertical planes based on the point cloud. Simply select the plane that has the correct direction, then set the first and the last point of the wall. The wall will automatically be created on the floor that you set with the Adjust Floor Structure command. In this case, we are working on the ground floor of the building. Repeat these steps until you create the required walls of the building. Join the corners of the walls to get the final shape of the ground floor. Change the visibility of the two saved filters so we can add the slab to the building. Set a perpendicular view to the filter and activate the slab detection command from the ribbon bar. Click on a part of the point cloud that is below the button of the walls to set where you want to create the slab. The slab is created within the bounding box of the point cloud. Offset its edges to match the parameter of the walls. Hide the point cloud in the 3D view and select the previously created walls and slab. Copy them to the first floor. Add the roof to the building. The roof is created with the default settings because we want to change its parameters after it was created. Enter its properties and create a gable end at the two shorter sides, then set the remaining two planes' angle to 13 degrees. Make the point cloud visible again, the switch of all filters with the main switch. Now you can see both the point cloud and the created building. To finish the project, we need to add windows to the building. In this specific case, it is useful to use both the 2D floor plan and the 3D view to modify the window size and position. Change the width and height of the window to fit the hole in the point cloud. Select a window type from the library that fits the original window. When you are finished with the change, you can position it on the floor plan for the perfect fit. With the Create Similar command, copy the window to the other positions. You can do this step on the floor plan or in the 3D view as well. Make the point cloud invisible in the 3D view, and you can see that we recreated the building only with the use of the point cloud. No other measurements were needed to finish this project. Let's see how we can export an ARCHLine.XP model into a file that Revit users can open and use. In this example, we will show you how you can export Revit files and what information can be exported with the model. When sharing a project with someone on the team who uses Revit, it can be a problem when the compatibility between the two programs is not 100%. ARCHLine.XP solves the problem by exporting both the 3D model and all the BIM parameters into the native Revit file format. The compatibility enables architects and engineers to work together on the project simultaneously, which saves time and money for all parties. Here is another project in which we add BIM parameters to the walls. Click on the Assign bsDD classification button in the File menu and select the walls in the 3D view. Search for thermal parameters in the database and select the required parameter. Add 2 thermal conductivity parameters and click OK to accept the changes. Export the modified project in RVT file format. Now the file will contain all BIM parameters that we just added to the project. In the native RVT file, you can check the BIM parameters of each element separately. You can see in the list both of the values we added in ARCHLine.XP. The next topic we will talk about is the Building Smart Data Dictionary. Data is necessary to be together with geometry today, and it is mandatory. That is what bsDD is for. The Building Smart Data Dictionary gives every country, every institute or company the opportunity to publish their data in a common file format. All data generated in a given institution can be managed and published in the bsDD system. Let's look at an example in ARCHLine.XP. We selected some walls in the model that we want to assign information to from the database. I will select the database and look for the property that I want within it. In this new dialog box, you will see exactly the same content as you did before in the Building Smart website. Here you can fill in all the properties according to the value that can be assigned to the walls or any other element. And now let's do an export. I will show the model in another software. This is the Open Design Viewer software. Here you can see that all the information are listed. And here you can see the values that we assigned. Geometry and data. Nothing is lost. Do you need to create lifelike surrounding buildings in your project, but you don't want to model them? Just make a photo of the buildings and you can insert the photos onto the building messes in your project. Adjust the corner points to the building's corners on the correct side and click OK. Make sure to be as precise as possible to get the best result. As a result, the selected area of the photo is stretched on the side of the building mess. Repeat these steps on the other sides of the building to create the illusion of a real building. Set the corner points of the shorter side and make sure to find the same points as before to make the corner seamless. When the correct corner points are set, click OK to finalize this side of the building mess. With the two sides next to each other, the building looks like it is an imported model. Import another picture and place it on the other building mess. This time the office building in the picture has indents and extrusions from the main body. In this case, not only the corner points, but their connecting lines are helpful as well. Place the corner points that you can identify easily, and then set the other corners with the help of the edge lines. If done well, the building mess and the picture's building edges will be aligned perfectly. Repeat the same steps on the shorter side of the building. Now we have a harder time to find the edge of the building, but don't worry, we can modify the stretch picture if we didn't get it right on the first try. Move the corner points to the corners on the picture and try to find the best possible places. I'm not sure about the right side of the building, so I place the markers close to the building's corners. I will adjust it when the picture is stretched on the building mess and I can see the corners and edges better. As you can see, I need to modify two corners, so I move them to the correct place. In the stretched picture, it is easier to find the correct corner points, so I modify them to make the facade look perfect. The result looks like a real building, but making it was a fraction of the time compared to the modeling the whole building. Now, if you move around in the 3D model, you can see real buildings instead of gray messes. This adds details to your documentation and renderings. Do you need to create lifelike interior decors in your project, but you don't want to model them? Just make a photo of the walls or surface and you can insert the photo onto the surface in your project. If you have an existing wall decor that you want to add to your project, it has never been easier to do so. Import the picture of the decor and add it to the correct wall. Modify the corner points to fit the wall perfectly. It is not a problem if the area is not defined perfectly, or you change your mind about how it should look. In this case, I wanted to make sure that the wall edges are aligned, so I adjust the perimeter of the picture again to make sure everything looks perfect. Set the new corner points in the picture and align the wall edges with the actual walls to get the best result. Start the rendering and impress your clients with world-class pictures of the spaces you designed for them. As you can see, there is no need to add the picture as 3D object one by one. This method gives perfect result as well. You can easily add different backgrounds to achieve a photorealistic image of the scene. This allows you to create impressive variations within minutes without using an additional software. Transparent surfaces, such as glass surfaces or curtains, are rendered with an alpha channel. Thanks to this, various backgrounds can be placed behind the image positioned on the floor plan. The position and size of the backgrounds can be precisely adjusted. Let's see the method. First, render the image by setting the appropriate parameters. In the background section, you select the editable background. In the project navigator, locate the rendered image and place it on the floor plan. In the next step, I select a background. First, I place this background onto the drawing. Now I drag the background onto the rendered image. Here I can move and scale it. I want to have a view of the city, so I reposition it. This setup is suitable. Next, I select the original rendered image and choose the Merge Images option from the editing menu. This creates a new rendered image which I can place. Let's make it a street view. I position the image onto the rendered image, slightly resize, and adjust its position. Once again, I select the rendered image and choose the Merge Images option. Then I place and save it. Let's review the result. Scroll through the completed images. Let's see the method. First, render the image by setting the appropriate parameters. In the background section, you can choose various types of backgrounds like color, image, or panorama. In this case, you need to select the editable background. In the rendered image, you can see that the program leaves the areas behind transparent surfaces blank. This means the transparent surfaces are assigned an alpha channel. Once the rendered image is complete, it's a good idea to save it. Switch between the windows. In the project navigator, locate the rendered image and place it on the floor plan. Let's take a look. The image has been created with a blank background. In the next step, I select a background. First, I place this background onto the drawing. Now I drag the background onto the rendered image. Here I can move and scale it. I want to have a view of the city, so I reposition it. This setup is suitable. Next, I select the original rendered image and choose the Merge Images option from the editing menu. This creates a new rendered image which I can place. Let's check the result. It is worth saving using the Save As command. Using the same background image, I will now create another setup by slightly moving the image upward. This way I get a view of the garden and the grass area. Again, I select the rendered image. It is helpful to use the list here. I choose the Merge Images option once more. I place this image as well. We have completed the next image. Save this one too. I load another background image. Let's make it a street view. I position the image onto the rendered image, slightly resize, and adjust its position. Once again, I select the rendered image and choose the Merge Images option. Then I place and save it. Let's review the result. Scroll through the completed images. Here you can see the original rendered image with the blank background, followed by the various versions we created. Additionally, I created another variation featuring a garden. With the direct connection of D5 Render and ARCHLine.XP 2025, you can access D5 Render's website directly from ARCHLine.XP, and you can start our tutorial videos from the ribbon bar as well. Create stunning renderings of both buildings and interior spaces with these two powerful apps. Save as many 3D views in your project as you want. When you start D5 Render, you will find all of the saved views in the D5 Render project. You can update the view list in D5 Render from ARCHLine.XP 2025. No need to restart your project. The textures by default look stunning, but you can customize them if needed. In this project, we added light sources to the lamps. In ARCHLine.XP 2025, the light sources have specific settings that you can customize. When you send your project into D5 Render, all of the light sources are transferred with your project, which means that everything will look the same as did in ARCHLine.XP. Select the light sources in the model and you can see the D5 Render shows the selected light sources in the list. You can change the properties of the selected light sources to your liking. Change views and select the spotlights on the ceiling. As you can see, these are also listed on the left side. Here you can disable these light sources, but now we need them on. Change the temperature of the lights. Now that we set the correct light settings, we can start rendering this image. Set the aspect ratio and the resolution of the image and set the folder where you want to save the image. The renderings are done in the blink of an eye. Impress your clients with beautiful images of the spaces you designed for them. When creating schedules in the project, you don't have to remember all the element types you used in the planning process. Simply select graphically the elements you want to include in it. To create the schedules, click on the Schedule by Selection command on the ribbon bar, and you just have to place them on the floor plan. When you select an element in any view of the project, a floating editor appears that contains specific information for each element. In this box, you can edit the most commonly changed properties of the selected element. This method is a fast and easy way to make the finishing touches on your project. In architectural modeling, this feature makes it simple to modify the elements after you place them and see how they look in the actual surrounding. Modify the base elevation, materials, opening directions, opening angles, and any parameter that is available in the list. The changes you make are automatically updated in all views, including the 3D model. When selecting an element, it is possible that the floating editor offers different options in different views. The editing options are optimized for each view to create the best possible workflow. In interior designs, to furnish a room, you need lots of objects. In this example, you can see that after placing a lamp in the project, it is on the floor by default. When you select the lamp in the floating editor, the top height option is available. By entering this value, the lamp will be automatically placed on the ceiling without having to calculate anything. The floating editor is helping you to create your vision faster and easier. Now let's look at an example of a staircase. The new tool helps you to use the most commonly used editing and modification tools. Let's see a case where there is a wall under the stairs. You can cut out the wall and instantly adjust the connection between the wall and the stairs. The next one is that you can easily switch on and off the most important stair components. This means that the solid material of the risers, tread, and stairs can be easily replaced. The 2D is focused on the representation. You can see different kinds of representation for nosing, section line, working line, numbering, and geometry text. This allows you to quickly choose the right representation based on norms, standards, or client requirements. You can customize your stairs so you can easily touch any part of the contour line, and you can make modifications to customize the stairs. This is a very typical structure that in many cases the stair starts with a kind of rounded first step. It is easy to make. Now let's look at the roof. Here, in case of the roof, you can set up the overhang value. That means the distance from the wall. And now I draw your attention to this small button with the arrow. It means if you have more parameters than displayed, in this case the program offers you a second table. Here you can see that you can easily change the representation. For example, you would like to have it with or without the beams. And you can set up the beam gap as well. It is possible in ARCHLine.XP 2025 to graphically set the top and bottom boundary of the view. Create a cut-away 3D view and set its area on the floor plan. Click on the name of the view and select the Edit Section Top Bound option. You can graphically set the top boundary of the 3D model. It is possible to set boundary mid-story, but you can use reference points to set its height too. This is a useful feature if you want to quickly change the 3D representation of the building or access hidden parts of the 3D model. If you want to reach another part of the building, you can move the boundary anytime. If you want to set the original top boundary height, activate the command again and move the boundary plane to the top. Create a section view of the building. When the section is activated, you can access the most common comments from the dashboard. The Edit Section Top Bound can be found in the dashboard or by clicking on the view's name. Activate the command and set a new top and bottom boundary for the section view. The third button in this row in the dashboard changes the viewing direction of the section. In this video, we are creating object templates, add BIM parameters to them, and save an Excel list on the computer of the created architectural elements. Click on the BIM Libraries button on the ribbon bar and select the BIM object application. On the website, search for solar panels and download one that you like. The preferred file format is Revit or SketchUp. Import the downloaded object into ARCHLine.XP. The object will be opened in sketch mode, where you can make the necessary modifications and save the object into the library. Set the name of the object and select the desired folder. Click OK to save the object and exit sketch mode. Now the object is available in the library and you can place it in the project. This solar panel is not placed with an angle, so we need another one. Delete the object from the project and open the 3D warehouse. Search for solar panels in the 3D warehouse and find the right one for the purpose. Download it and set the name and its place in the library. Place the solar panel on the roof, set the correct base elevation and rotate it so it faces south. Move it to its final position. Make sure that the solar panel is placed so that it can receive the most possible sunlight during the day. Create multiple copies of the solar panel to fit the available space. In this case, we have space for 6 additional solar panels. Now create an object template from the solar panels on the roof. First, select the solar panels and then click on the New Object Template command on the ribbon bar. Select the parent element of the template and save it in the library with the required name. Place the object template on the roof behind the previous row of solar panels. Now ARCHLine.XP handles this row of solar panels as if they were a group of the object. Multiply the object templates of the solar panels to cover the roof of the building. As you can see, some of the solar panels are in the way and collide with the building. We need to modify the affected object templates to make sure there is enough space to walk around. Hide the elements that are not needed. A convenient way is to use the Manage Components dialog, where you can add new, change, hide, and delete components. You can also add or delete new hotspots to each element of the object template. Find the object template in the library and place one on the other side of the roof. Multiply the solar panels so they cover the whole roof. Select all the solar panels on the roof. When you select an element that is part of an object template, the whole template will be selected. Click on the File menu, BIM, Add Classification Comment. Select the Choose from the bsDD database button. Select ATIM from the drop-down list and type solar into the search box. This way, only those parameters will be listed that contain the word solar. Select the desired parameter from the list and fill in the values required. These parameters are added as BIM parameters to the object, which can be exported in documentations and EFC models. This feature makes communication between different branches of the construction industry effective and self-explanatory. We are now ready with the editing of the project. Start the documentation by creating an Excel list of the Smart Objects assembly elements. In the file, you can see that the BIM parameters added to the solar panels are listed in the Properties. Different tabs show different parameters and calculations. In interior design, there are some elements that typically occur more than once in a project, such as the chairs in the dining room. In such cases, you don't need to create the objects one by one, but you can use the new object templates to create these repeated elements at the same time. Here you can see this element. It is in the dining category. Let's place it again. Now we want to edit it. These elements can be modified by clicking on the gear. In the dialog, you see that you can set up the visibility. If you want, you can hide any element. You can set up also the drawing order. You can change the 2D representation. So this means that you can create a 2D that is much more understandable for the clients because you can use object templates. You can replace any element of the object template. This means that if you don't like this chair because the client needs another one, another style, you can easily change all of them in one step. So now you can see a new layout using a different stair. And you don't have to do it one by one. The program provides one-step solution. If you want a different representation, you can repeat the same replace command. So in this case, you can make it more lifelike because you can modify them one by one. Also, you can control the visibility of the elements that are in the object template. This means, in the case of a window, you fill it with a certain material. This is a kind of marble. And when you have this marble, you can move the elements around. And you see that the program gives you the visibility so that it looks like that. All the chairs, when you move them, are under the table. In the case of the calculation, the program does the quantity takeoff for the object templates as well. The new floor plan generator feature in ARCHLine.XP 2025 is a useful tool that can create complex floor plans of buildings. You just need to create the perimeter of the building and place the entrance door, and the rest is done by ARCHLine.XP. When you activate the feature in the floor plan generator dialog, you can choose between small, medium, and large size flats. Set the width of the corridor and the thickness of the walls. Set how many bathrooms and bedrooms do you want in the plan. You can activate several options for some rules of the building. By expanding the options in the bottom part of the dialog, you can set the minimum and maximum width and depth of the default rooms, and set the minimum and maximum area of each room. All of these options give us plenty options to create the perfect ratio of the rooms in the building. If you don't like the first option ARCHLine.XP created, you can have the option to regenerate the floor plan. You can regenerate the floor plan multiple times until you get the result you like. The final step is to modify the floor plan to correct the small mistakes in it. Section visibility filters are useful when you want to create a section view displaying specific element types. Previously, you only had the option to disable point clouds, terrains, and objects on the sections. Introduced in ARCHLine.XP 2025, you can now create custom filters for all element types that can be displayed on sections. In the Section Properties dialog or on the dashboard, you can find predefined filters that are ready to use, or you can create custom filters for your specific needs. To create a custom section visibility filter, select the Add New option and create a new filter. Add the element types to the list that you want to exclude from the section representation. You can add several types of elements in the same filter. Click OK and the section is automatically updated with the filter you just created. Now you can change between the section visibility filters to best fit your representation needs. Create a list of the used materials sorted by rooms. With just a click of a button, you can create a spreadsheet of the used materials. With the help of the Room and Area command, ARCHLine.XP can detect the rooms and list the materials based on this information. You can place these spreadsheets on the floor plan or export it into an Excel file. The materials are categorized by the available element types, so you can identify easily what materials are used, in which room, on which surface. Export this spreadsheet into an Excel file and use this fast and easy tool to communicate your design with your clients. In the redesigned Styles panel, you can now find all of your styles created in ARCHLine.XP. All the categories are listed in the drop-down menu where you can select the style you want to use. Select the curtain wall. As you can see, the list is divided in two parts. In the top part, you can see the recently used styles, which makes it easier to find the most commonly used styles. In the bottom part, you can see all the saved styles categorized into folders. Click on a style to select it, and when you start the command, the object will use the properties set in the style. For the most commonly used elements, it is enough to click on the style's name and the command is activated. You just have to place it on the floor plan or in the 3D view. Activate the door category in the Styles panel and select a door style. When you move the mouse over a wall, the command is active and you just have to place it where you want it to be. To change between the styles, you just select another one from the list. When you already use the style, it will appear in the recently used list. This panel enhances your productivity by making it easy to use the elements and styles you want with just one click. You can also search for the style's name if you don't find it at the first sight in the list. When you create a new style in the Properties dialog of a command, it will be automatically listed in the Styles panel. Make the changes you want in the Properties dialog of the element, save it as a new style, or overwrite an existing one and close the dialog. In the Styles panel, the new style will automatically appear with the latest settings. Find the element type in the list and use the new style to create the desired room and area stamp or any other element in your project. Edit the materials in the project with the Paint Bucket command. Select a new material from the library or find a material in the project folder. Then place it on the surface of your choice. In the search box, you can even search by name for the texture you want to use in the project. You can now add angled mullions to the curtain walls. Enter the properties of the curtain wall and set the vertical or horizontal angle of the mullions on the Curtain Wall Properties tab. In the preview, you can check the result. Click OK to accept the changes and set the angles of the mullions in the other curtain wall. You can edit the location of the mullions in the 2D and 3D view as well. And now another important change to the user interface. We have redesigned our orientation or coordination system. Now all the information is much easier to manage in the drawing. Imagine that this is the actual position of your building in the north. So if you set a north direction, the program immediately places it on the north sign. So you can see exactly where north is. But it's not so easy to work in that situation. Here you can see that the horizontal and vertical railings do not match the building. That's why we have the project-based origin in the program. That means it's a different coordinate system, and this little marker with red and green arrows shows the direction. When you place it, you can adjust the direction. This is a much more editable position now. In this case, the global coordinate system changes and you can draw with this new system. You can change it at any time to your preferred position. And obviously, anytime you can change between those two north directions, and you can use either the project or the true north direction. Create conduit elements with ARCHLine.XP 2025. From now on, you can not only place the electrical switches and their connections with lamp and electrical outlets, but also add the electrical conduit plan to your documentation. Create the map conduit plan in your project and send the detailed documentation to your clients. Place the electrical switchboard on the garage wall. Connect it to the two motion detectors in the building. You can choose between rigid and flexible conduit styles. Place a rigid conduit and run it up to the upper level. When you use rigid conduits, it is impossible to flex them, thus you need to use electrical boxes at the L turns. In ARCHLine.XP, they are automatically added to the conduit, so you just have to draw its path. You can not only place conduits on the floor plan, but in the 3D view as well. Now let's place a flexible electrical conduit in the project. Select the starting point of the conduit and set the reference plane. If you don't find the right starting point, adjust the viewing angle in the 3D view. Add the length of the conduit and create an L turn into the path. You can set a new plane at any point of the drawing process. Now we adjust the placement of the conduit so it will run into the motion detector. Offset the horizontal part of the conduit so it touches the wall. Extend the length of the conduit so it touches the motion detector. This is how easy it is to plan a conduit system in ARCHLine.XP 2025.